What if you turn reflection into gratitude and hindsight into hope? Let's talk about it right after this.
Educate, empower, enable, impact. Thank you for tuning in to That Will Never Work, an award-winning podcast where we share inspiring information and personal experiences related to business and the entrepreneurial journey from those who are leaders in their respective field. Now, here's your host, author and business coach, Maurice.
Hey, everyone. So this whole series right here has been about the opportunity that we all could take when we want to say something to our younger selves. It's the idea. Like, dear younger me, thank you for not giving up mentality. And so, since all of you have been walking through this series with me, see, you already know that this wasn't about really taking a step back and looking back and saying, oh, wow, saying my shoulda, coulda, wouldas. But it was about taking a look back, in all honesty, recognizing what you have accomplished and what you have done. And so understanding that in those times of recognition, that even when I didn't know what I was doing, even for myself, that I was still being shaped into something greater, and I still haven't reached my full potential. And I've come to understand that every version of me, whether I was going through self-doubt, the one that was really confused about what was going on, even the one that might have seemed a little bit more confident, one that might have been a little more poised, the one that was also broken in the process, and the one that was in a place of rebuilding, that what was happening at that time was that I was building and creating that best version of myself. And in those moments, I can only do the best that I knew how to do at that time. And so today isn't just about really just speaking to myself, especially the younger self, because we like to play those games sometimes. But you're really speaking to yourself today. And the one that is still carrying the ideas, the lessons, the ones that, the moment where you're still learning to be patient and to be still, and the one that's still writing and rewriting what growth looks like. And so if you really think about it, that, in the first episode in this series where we talked about you don't have to have it all figured out, and that life isn't a straight line, but it's also a series of detours. And progress is about movement and not mastery, because, you can be, what's that phrase about learning all these things but master of none? Well, sometimes in life you can't be a master. You can't focus in on one thing because other things come up. But over a period of time, you will become the master. Over a period of time of repetition or whatever it is, you will become the master of your own destiny. And now, at this time where in episode 2, where we spoke about your value isn't defined by validation, and that sometimes the loudest applause that you're ever going to hear is going to come from yourself. And so I want you to understand in this process that you are still worthy and that you're still an overcomer, even when those moments are quiet. And that the last show where we spoke about failure isn't final, but it's also the feedback. And so understand that every no that you have faced was really a redirection towards something better, stronger, and a more polished version of you. And so when you string all these ideas, all these lessons, all these conversations together, you start to realize that the person you are today is the evidence that your younger self, it didn't quit because you're still here. You're still here. And I want you to think about it that, as we continue to grow and you look back, like, growth isn't glamorous. It's not cute. It's not funny. It's not, all these things. It can be, because it can feel like it's not any of those things. But it's also, in a sense, it could be a little gritty, right? It could have little rocks and pebbles in it. It could be a little messy. But let's keep in mind that it is built upon small wins. It is built upon, those prayers, those moments of meditation or whatever it is. And it's also about getting back up when no one else is watching. Because we get knocked down, we got to get back up. And the wisdom that you carry now isn't just for you, but it's for someone that is still standing where you once stood. Because the reality is, someone is watching. And someone is listening. Also, someone is waiting for you to share it. And so here is where we are with That Will Never Work podcast, is that we are sharing it on an everyday basis, every week basis, every moment basis that we can. Because when you share it, like we are, you prove the title of this whole podcast. You could prove it wrong. So, if you take a picture and reflect, if you take a moment and reflect, if you take a phone call, if you take a video, whatever it is, and just reflect, take a moment and picture yourself standing right in front of you, a younger version of you. That individual who might have been a little scared, because I really was scared. There were moments where I was hopeful. There was some moments where I was a little shaky, a little uncertain. But now I can look at myself and say, thank you for not giving up. Thank you for the mistakes. Thank you for the courage. Because we didn't see the whole picture. We didn't see where we are or where we're going. And at this particular time, I am 49 years old. I will be 50 very shortly. And so when I look at myself and want to speak to myself from 25 years ago, when I've been married for 25, and I look in the mirror and say, well, wait a minute, 25 years ago when I was 24 and I was just getting married, I didn't know what I was walking into. And so in that version of myself, I was very judgmental. I was very critical. And so I want to be able to look at that version now and say, be just a little bit more understanding and not so frustrated with yourself, because that's not who we're going to be moving forward. And I want that individual, that person, to know that you're not defined by how far we've come or you've come. But you're going to be defined by how willing you are to keep becoming the individual that you need to be. And that things are still unfolding and things are still where you're still growing. And that you're still going to continue to write the story. And that your younger self, being my younger self, if I'm speaking to myself, that you're still living and that you can continue to dream. Don't stop. And so I would like each and every one of you, that if you're listening and you speak to your younger self, I want you to look at them and really say, I'm proud of what we have become. I'm proud of where we're going. And I'm proud of what we have accomplished. And we're going to continue to accomplish. So today, I would like for you, if you're listening, to sit down, write a letter to yourself, and start it with, "Dear me, here's where we are." And tell them what you've learned, how you have healed, and what you still hope to become. And if you write it down on social media, feel free to @ That Will Never Work on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, whatever it might be, with the hashtag Dear Younger Me, because your reflection might be someone else's revelation. And so before we close out this episode, you already know how I close out most shows. Again, using your imagination. There's no right or wrong answer. Thinking outside the box. Would you rather choose 3 doors or a fork in the road? That's all we have talked about, in all honesty. Which way do you want to go? And remember, whichever way you choose, they all lead to the same thing. They're all on a path of discovery. So it's not about the path either. It's about the journey. And it's also about the courage to keep putting one foot in front of the other. It doesn't matter if you're an entrepreneur. It doesn't matter if you're working in 9 to 5 in corporate America or wherever you might be corporately throughout the world. I need to acknowledge that as well. It doesn't matter. Keep putting one foot in front of the other. Change is going to come. Continue to stay hopeful and understand that no matter whether or not you choose 3 doors or a fork in the road, you're going to continue to grow and you will get to your destination. I thank you very much for listening today.
Thanks for listening. Follow Maurice Chisholm on social media to stay connected and check back weekly for new episodes. Until next time, that will never work. Or will it?